Got puffy eyes? This 1-minute massage could finally change that. Puffy eyes are one of the body's most overlooked warning signs, something many people write off as just tiredness or aging skin. But what if that swelling under your eyes wasn't cosmetic at all? What if it was your body's quiet signal that your circulation is slowing, your kidneys are overloaded, or your nervous system is stuck in stress mode? So in this episode, we'll explore one simple daily massage and one deeper internal shift that together reverse puffiness and reveal what your eyes have been trying to tell you for years. Welcome back to the Senior Health Podcast, where we separate myth from medicine and help you stay strong, steady, and independent for life. Today, we're taking a close look at how the eyes reflect your internal health and how ignoring those subtle signs can speed up aging far faster than you think. Because according to the National Institutes of Health, fluid retention, stress, and blood sugar issues increase significantly after 60, often showing up first in the soft tissue around the eyes. And sitting across from me is Japan's oldest physician, Dr. Shigeaki Hinohara, who reminds us that aging isn't a decline, but a message, and that the face often whispers what the body needs most.
Thank you, John. It's always a pleasure to be here. And I want to begin by asking everyone whether you ever looked in the mirror and seen swollen eyes staring back at you, even after a full night's sleep. Because that swelling is often the body's earliest whisper that something inside is out of balance.
Yes, at least I did. And if that sounds familiar, let us know in the comments. We'd love to hear how many of you have noticed that same shift around your eyes. And let's connect by telling where you are watching from.
For me too, John. And that subtle puffiness around the eyes is one of the first visible signs that your internal rhythms are being disrupted. Most people blame it on sleep or age, but often it's something deeper. And when you learn to support the body, those changes can reverse.
Right.
So today, we're starting from the inside, looking at the deeper systems that often trigger puffiness under the eyes. And if you stay with us, you will learn about one massage technique that can reverse puffiness.
Puffiness always reminds me of a woman I know in her 70s who came in looking for an eye cream, but what she really needed was circulation, through her face and her kidneys. We did the whole process on what we will be revealing today, and within weeks the puffiness eased, and she told me her face finally matched again with how she felt inside.
It's remarkable, isn't it? When we listen to the face, the whole body begins to respond.
And that's exactly where we're heading next. Tell us what's really happening inside the body when puffiness shows up under the eyes.
Most people think of puffiness as something that happens on the surface. But the body never works in isolation. What you see beneath the eyes is the result of signals far deeper. Signals from the bloodstream, the kidneys, and the nervous system. Often, this begins with sugar. Not candy alone, but the slow daily buildup of glucose that slips past our awareness.
That makes sense. A lot of people don't realize how sensitive the area under the eyes really is.
Yes, it's like a sponge. The tissue there is soft, unprotected, and close to the surface. So when the body begins to hold excess fluid, the eyes are often the first place it shows. The real culprit is insulin. When we consume too much sugar, the body releases more insulin. Over time, this leads to resistance. And that's when sodium starts getting trapped.
I've read that insulin resistance is tied to inflammation, but I hadn't thought of the fluid part. You're saying the puffiness is part of a much earlier warning?
Exactly. Sodium stays in the bloodstream longer, and fluid follows it. The kidneys try to filter it, but they can only do so much. It's like a drain pipe working against a rising tide.
That's a powerful image.
John, I remember a man in his late 60s. He didn't come in for his eyes. He came because he felt tired, foggy, not quite himself. But when I looked at him, the first thing I noticed was the puffiness around his eyelids. It was subtle, but it told me everything.
It's amazing how the face tells the story before the words do, right?
Yes, once he shifted away from processed carbs. His kidneys lightened, his blood pressure softened, and his face changed gradually, and over a few weeks, the swelling eased.
That's beautiful.
The body holds so much, not just physically, but emotionally. When the system is overloaded, even the smallest signs can feel loud if we're paying attention. And fluid always speaks early.
So it's not just aging, it's the buildup of something the body doesn't know how to release?
Yes, and in that buildup, the eyes become messengers. They're not trying to look tired. They're trying to be heard. And the sooner we listen, the more gently we can help the body restore balance.
What I find so fascinating is how something like sugar, which we think of as fuel, ends up becoming a burden, and the symptoms feel small, until one day they're not. What happens when the body starts to rebalance? Is there a way to help that process along naturally?
When the body begins to rebalance, the first thing it seeks is harmony between minerals. Potassium is the quiet partner that often goes missing. Without it, the cells hold sodium too tightly, and the fluid lingers where it should not. Many seniors do not realize how easily potassium becomes depleted with years of high carb eating. The eyes become the first place where that loss makes itself known.
I see this often in my clinic. People think they are tired, but it is their cells asking for balance.
When potassium returns through food, something soft begins to happen inside the body. The vessels relax, the kidneys filter with less strain, and the fluid has somewhere to go again. It is not dramatic. It is more like a gentle untying of a knot that has sat there for years.
That feels so different from the quick fixes people reach for. It sounds like the body prefers slow restoration over sudden change.
It does. The body has its own pace and its own wisdom. When we match that pace, healing feels natural instead of forced.
It's comforting to hear that.
One woman told me her face felt lighter after 2 weeks of eating more vegetables rich in potassium. She said it felt as if someone turned down the noise inside her head. And in her reflection, she saw a softness she had not seen in years.
That's such a meaningful change.
It reminded me that the face often clears when the inside ear feels supported. When the kidneys stop struggling, the eyes brighten. When the blood moves more freely, the puffiness loses its grip. These are signs of internal peace, not vanity.
I love that perspective.
The interesting part is how consistent the results become when people give their bodies enough potassium. Their mornings feel different, their thoughts feel clearer, and their eyes begin to show the ease they have been missing. It is a reminder that small nutrients can influence how we meet the day. It can change the very way someone carries their face. It can even change how they speak about themselves.
That's beautifully said.
And I want people to understand one more thing. Potassium does not work alone. Its power depends on what we pair it with and what we remove from the body's daily burden. When those pieces come together, the changes reach far beyond the eyes.
That makes me curious to understand what you mean by pairing it, because that sounds like an important connection and not something most people would ever think about.
There is a relationship inside the body that many overlook. It can either support the effects of potassium or undo them without a sound. And when we reveal it, many people finally understand why their puffiness never seemed to improve.
I'd love for you to take us deeper into that before we show the massage technique. So what is that relationship really about, and why does it matter so much for the eyes?
It's about the nervous system. When we live in stress for too long, the body begins to grip everything. Fluids, minerals, even breath. The more tension we carry, the more puffiness tends to linger.
That fits so well with what I see. Patients who are constantly wired or anxious often have the most stubborn swelling around the eyes.
Stress activates the sympathetic system, which in turn raises a hormone called renin. Renin holds sodium tightly in the body, which means potassium cannot do its work. Even with the best diet, if the body remains in stress mode, the fluid stays locked in.
So, in a way, the body is protecting itself, but the cost is heaviness.
Yes, it's trying to stabilize you, but that safety comes with a price. It begins with puffiness, but over time it can affect clarity, digestion, even how we sleep.
It's like a quiet storm brewing under the surface. Most people don't even notice how long they've been carrying it.
This is why external practices matter so deeply. They remind the nervous system that it is safe to release.
That's exactly what I've been waiting to hear. So what kind of practice allows the body to shift out of that holding pattern and into release?
Actually, John, this might be the most important part of our conversation, so I want everyone listening to stay with me. We have 4 steps, and each one supports a different part of the body's natural release system. They are small movements, but they speak to the nervous system, the muscles, and the lymph in very different ways. When we combine them, the body finally remembers how to circulate, and once that shift begins, the puffiness under the eyes can soften far faster than most people expect.
That already feels reassuring. There's something powerful about knowing it's just 4 steps, not some complicated routine, something anyone can do in a quiet moment. So what's the first step?
The first step is the breath, because the breath is the switch that turns off the alarm inside the body. I ask people to take 2 or 3 slow breaths in through the nose and then lengthen the exhale by even a single second. That longer exhale tells the vagus nerve that the danger has passed. If you listen closely, you can feel the soft tissue beneath the eyes relax as the nervous system shifts into safety. It's subtle, but it's immediate, and it creates the foundation for everything that comes next.
It's amazing how many signs of stress people carry in their faces without even noticing. The breath almost feels like asking the body for permission to begin.
Exactly. And once the breath steadies, we move into step 2. This is where we place 3 fingertips beneath each eye and begin a gentle pulsing motion. The pressure is barely enough to move the skin. It is slow, rhythmic, and should last for about 30 to 40 seconds. This is where the lymph begins to wake up. The area under the eyes is one of the most delicate on the entire body, and when fluid gets stuck there, it shows immediately. But with these light pulses, we are giving that fluid a path forward instead of letting it sit and grow heavy.
People often think they need pressure to make something happen, but here you're saying it's the softness that creates movement.
Softness is often the strongest medicine. Step 3 takes that softness and extends it downward. We bring the hands to the collarbone and tap lightly for 20 to 30 seconds. This is where the lymph drains. Think of it as opening the bottom of a funnel. If this point stays closed, everything above it stays congested. When we tap here, we are telling the fluid that the door is open. It can move. It can let go.
That's such an overlooked detail. People jump straight to the eyes and forget that everything needs a place to exit.
Which brings us to step 4, the most active part of the routine. We place the fingers near the outer corners of the eyes and form a soft O with the mouth. Then we flutter the eyelids gently, like the wings of a small bird. 10 to 15 flutters are enough. This wakes up the orbicularis oculi, the muscle that supports the eye and keeps the skin toned. When that muscle sleeps, the skin looks tired. When it wakes, the eyes regain their brightness, and it happens faster than many expect.
That's fascinating. You're not just reducing puffiness, you're strengthening the structure that keeps the eyes looking alive.
Indeed. And then, once those muscles have awakened, we shift into a more soothing motion. We take the ring finger and glide beneath the eyes, following the shape of the bone. No pressure, just a soft guiding stroke for 15 to 20 seconds. This escorts the fluid toward the drainage points we opened earlier. In a way, we are teaching the fluid the path it forgot. We are giving the body directions it once knew but lost through years of stress.
It sounds almost like the face is learning to trust itself again. That's a beautiful way to think about these movements. So how do we finish this?
We finish by tapping gently around the eyes for another 20 seconds. This brings warmth and blood flow back to the skin, delivering oxygen and nutrients that creams cannot reach. Then we return to the collarbone for one final pulse, encouraging everything we loosened to leave the face. And finally, we close the entire practice with another deep, slow breath. That breath is what seals the shift. It is the moment the body says, "I can release now."
Hearing you describe it this way makes the whole ritual feel almost meditative, not just a technique, but a moment of connection with the self.
It is, and that is why the results often extend beyond the eyes. These steps restore softness where stress created tension. They calm the nervous system enough to let the fluid move again, and they remind people how much the face reflects the state of the entire body.
That makes me wonder how many older adults have been living with puffiness that was never just about looks, but a sign their body was begging for calm and care.
Yes, but we are not done yet. What happens after these steps is even more powerful. Once the nervous system responds, something deeper begins to change in the background, and most people feel it before they can explain it.
I want to know more about that before we close this conversation. What is it the body starts doing differently after this routine, and why does the change feel so immediate for some people?
When the nervous system is calm, the kidneys work more efficiently. Blood flows where it needs to, and waste exits as it should. Even the eyes begin to clear, because the body is no longer clinging to what it should have released.
It's humbling to think that such visible changes can begin with invisible shifts. And it reminds me that beauty and healing often come from the same root: balance.
That's why many people feel something else shift after the ritual. Their sleep improves, their digestion settles. The face is just the first place we see the change, but it's never the only place.
There's something hopeful about that, like it's never too late to create momentum in the body again.
Yes, and that momentum does not need force. It only needs the right signal, repeated gently and often. That's the secret most of us forget. The body already wants to heal.
The body already wants to heal. I'm going to remember that. And what a beautiful way to close today's episode. So if this spoke to you, share it with someone who could use a little more calm and maybe a little less puffiness in their life. Please give the videos a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel, and click on this video. It's recommended just for you.